Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, we're here again at another training. We're at in the kind of the new agent training thing where last week we got all the way through showing. So we'd set up searches. We got them. We've been through the buyer packet stuff, and now we're at a house and where we opened the lockbox. We're in. We're keeping the clients with us as much as possible. That's kind of where we're at. So basically, at the end of a showing, once everybody's looked at everything, the kind of the process at the end is going to be a couple things. One, if you're in a multiple showing situation where you've got other agents there, maybe another agent coming up, you're going to want to make sure you know who the agent is. If you want to be super diligent, you're going to ask them for some identification. Hey, do you have a business card? They may not. Don't press it. You're not being a jerk. But I walk in, I think I mentioned this in the last video, I walk in like this. Hey, Eli Skinner here, Simplify Real Estate. Is there okay, you're the agent? Cool, I just wanted to show you my business card. I'm legit. They're like, okay, cool, thank you. Really helpful because they're nervous, right? Most people are nervous, right? Some random person walking into the house, and most people don't have the confidence and some of the charisma to be able to handle that well. So I just take it right to them. Hey, here's my business card. I'm good. I'm the agent. Where's the key? Keys in the, okay, cool. Or, hey, I saw the keys in the door. Or, do you have the key? Yep. Awesome. Great. When you're done, will you just maybe put it in the lock on the door for me? Or they'll say it's on the counter in the kitchen. They'll kind of tell you. So you're finding out where the key is. When you run another agent, you're making sure they're an agent because it could be a neighbor, right? And now you need to say, sorry, I need to have you wait outside because I'm actually you can have that conversation, right? I'm responsible for what currently occurs in the house because I'm the only one scheduled with a permission to be here. I'm happy to show you the house here in just a second once these clients are done. If that works for you, I'd love to help, whatever. I picked up clients that way without a doubt. They walked in, maybe they haven't called their agent yet. And I'm like, hey, I'll show it to you. No problem at all. Let's talk. And I talk up the team and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we'll just use you. Like, perfect. Like, how long have you known your agent? I like to ask the question, how do you know your agent? Oh, I just met him at an open house last week. Perfect. You're mine now. Game over. Yeah. It's my cousin. I'm like, okay, cool. What's their name? Bob Jones. Ooh, Bob. Okay. Yeah. I met him once. I think he does a couple deals a year. I don't know if he's prepared for this particular market, but that's fine. We do 100. So I don't know if you're interested in chatting about that. No, if someone generally, just to caveat that, I'm not actually a complete jerk. I am more interested in feeding my family and feeding your families than I am feeding anybody else's family, period. So if you're going to talk to me about, being nice or whatever, that's fine. But I'm not going to be real nice. If this is the last slice of bread, I'm going to give it to my kid, not yours. Okay, so that's the way I feel. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I feel the same way about you guys. So we're going to feed your families first. So I'm going to try to give you the tools and the tips to go get it. However, if the question I ask a lot of times about other agents is, have you been consistently seeing homes with your agent over the past few weeks? Have you been consistently seeing homes with your agent over the past few weeks? If you have gone a week or two without seeing a home with your agent, there needs to be a really good reason. They don't exist, whatever. I've been on vacation, and so we've been in Cozumel, so of course we haven't seen houses. Like, okay, cool. But if you have, you better believe that answer is no, I'm coming for you as my client. Because that's not going to happen with us. And boy, that's too bad. There have been a lot of really nice homes come on and off the market over the past few weeks that are a lot like the one you're currently standing in, or the one you're currently calling about, or the one that that's really weird. Why do you think that is? Well, I know he's been really busy. Okay. Gosh, there are so many timelines in a contract. And if someone happens to be busy, like, how are we going to handle that? Like inspection responses and deadlines for lenders. And said, we've got a team so that doesn't happen. I've got 2 or 3 people, including myself, an assistant, and maybe even somebody else that's looking over your file consistently to make sure we don't miss those deadlines. And you've got somebody to talk to all the time. Well, up to you for sure. I mean, everybody needs to eat, but we've figured out how to close 100 transactions a year, and they probably close 3 and are having trouble being too busy. So I don't know. It's up to you. That's, again, I'm not saying that. I'm just casting doubt, adding question marks behind that person's name now. And they left the door open for me, not me, right? I'm not the one that didn't show houses for the last 2 weeks to my client. So again, if there's a great reason, fine. I'm not going to take your client. But if you're consistently working, awesome, you're probably doing just fine. Keep working with them. If you do have any trouble or need any help, feel free to reach out as long as you're not under contract with them. But that's my approach, because I'm 100% fine. I don't want somebody trying to steal my client either. If I'm working with them, of course I don't. They're not going to be able to. That's my perspective. But if they try, I'm going to be okay with it, whatever. But I'm not going to do that to somebody else, because I do hold some pretty strong manipulation powers, and some of you might as well. So you have to be careful how to wield those powers. And they're all humans, and we love them all. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to be a better agent for you, then we're going to just do this our way. So, but anyway, that's an aside. Welcome. Sorry. But I asked that question because I don't want to step on anybody's toes unnecessarily. My goal is not that the agent doesn't get a sale. It's that client gets helped and my family gets fed. That's my goal. It's not a negative. It's a positive that I'm going to add, not a negative. I'm not punching somebody. So anyway, so we're gonna find out if we run into another agent. That's how we're gonna handle it. When you get to the end of the showing, finally, let's just assume no agents at all. If you do leave and there's another agent in the house, you're gonna update them on the status. Hey, we're headed out. Keys in the door. I didn't lock anything. I didn't turn any lights off. That's all on you. They're now clear what just happened. If I'm leaving and there's no agent, then I'm double checking all the doors. I'm normally telling my clients, I'll meet you at the next house, I'll whatever. You guys can head out, no problem. I'll lock up and turn off the lights. So I'm getting them out of the house. They're on their way to the next house, whatever it is. And I'm shutting things, checking doors, locking, and moving on. Sometimes if it's a busy house, day one, I leave all the lights on. I tell my clients, my listing clients, leave all your lights on. I hate walking into a house trying to find 47 light switches. That's not a great sales tactic for your house. So leave your lights on and leave them as bright as they can be. Leave your doors open, right? So that's what I'm going for. And I do the same thing out of niceness to that seller. You guys should have your lights on for all these people. The $13 you're going to spend this week leaving your lights on for all these showings is well worth it. You got people that just... me, I shut every cabinet open in the world. I turn lights off all the time, incessantly, just because it's a habit, not because I actually care about the money, but I try not to make my habits come true to their life. But if you're leaving without another agent there, you're doing that lockup, and then you just pop the key back in the lockbox, shut it, but just this is my life. When you go click, that feels like the end of an era. Almost like you can't go back in. You can, but you need to have the weight of, am I leaving that house in the condition it should be in before you put that last thing up? Because you don't know, right? You click that and then you go, oh, I forgot to check that back door. Phone rings. Hi, this is Eli. How can I help you? And then I'm walking to my car and I forgot to lock the door in the back. So be very, very careful. Keep the keys in your hand. You can put them on a lanyard, whatever, anything that's not going to be comfortable for you, that you're going to remember that they're there. Pockets are terrible ideas. I put, sometimes some of them, the doors actually come off completely for the lockbox. I will put that by the threshold inside or just outside the door. So I have to step on it, step over it, that sort of thing, so that I don't forget it at all. Anything you can do to drop those reminders for yourself is going to be really good. Interesting update too, when you're talking about lock boxes, there's some lock boxes that you're going to do the code, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to open it, door's going to come off, you're going to get the key, and then you can't get the thing back on without punching the code in again. That's just, it's stupid, but that's the way they work, right? Okay, yeah, the other day like that. So, pro tip, punch the code in again.
And
1, 2, 3.
Upper side, if we leave open.
Yep.
Put the number, then keep it open.
Yep, leave it open.
Keep it continuously open as soon as we show them.
Yep, then you can shut it when you're done. That's good. But on some of these, it's going to be this weird old school punch button thing with these little white or black tabs. And you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when you unlock it, the door's going to come off completely. And you're not going to even be able to put it on again without punching 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to punch one, and then it'll allow it to go back on. Well, the problem is, just again, pro tip, not a big deal. You're going to forget the code. You're going to come back and you're going to pull out your phone again. What's the code? Okay, and you're going to do it. So what I do is it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Open. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set it down. Now the code's already in there, and when I go to leave quickly, I just pop it up, pop it right back on. I didn't have to go back and find the code again. There. The code will stay. It's just when you the reset button and the open button kind of do the same thing, which is clears the code. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, open. 1, 2, 3, 4, set it on the ground, and then go in the house, do all your things. It's just a little tip for some of those ones that the code doesn't stick. So you've locked up everything again, you double checked it, you put the thing in, you close it, then you move on with your life. Then you're done. You're headed off to talk to your client, and maybe you're going to another house, maybe you're whatever. If you start to go to a bunch of different homes, this market's been weird. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, it was totally different. And you had to make notes because it was going to be what did we like about this house? And we had options. No options now. But when there was options, so you may think about it, taking notes, making mental notes at worst. You can text them to your client. I do things all the time. I text my client, say, I'm going to text you some stuff that I'm hearing. That way you can correct it. I heard that you didn't want a basement. Well, we don't mind a basement. Okay, cool. But they can respond back to that. So I'm getting notes to them. They know I'm paying attention. They're coming back with clarifications, whatever. But I'm taking notes because I want to know what they like, what they don't like. That'll shut down other showings. Because instead of going to see 5 houses on Saturday, I can now cut it down to 2 because I paid attention on the last ones. And the last ones were, they wanted a 2-car attached garage. Well, 3 of them that they had sent me had a 2-car garage, but it was detached. And I know they're not going to buy that house. So I say, hey, that's got a detached garage. You're not going to want it. And so now I'm showing 2 houses instead of 5 that I knew I wasn't going to buy. So taking good notes. You can bring papers. This is all kind of out of order here, but you can bring papers. You cannot bring papers. But honestly, everything's in your phone. And it's your ability to be charismatic and in the moment and friendly and fun, in my opinion, goes a lot further than showing up with a bunch of papers that they got to sort through. And it's say all the information that the internet's got, and that you could send them PDFs in their email afterwards. If you're going to send them paper, prepare beforehand and email them to them so that they can just walk around, not having to track all these papers. Now, if they want papers, get them papers by all means. Yeah. But I can't tell you the last time I showed up with anything but my phone, which is also an interesting idea. Make sure your phone is charged. The first time you show up at a master lock box and your phone is dead, you can't use the Bluetooth feature. You can't find the code, and you can't call the agent to get the code. You're hosed. You're calling me or one of our other teammates going, hey, will you call Bob? Ask Bob for me. I mean, your phone's...
You can't even call.
You can't even call. You're using your client's phone, and you're going to search Facebook for me and find my number and call me, right? It's just crazy. So that's a big thing. Make sure your phone's charged. Pay really close attention to that. It's important.
And how long time would need to take? 15 minutes? 30 minutes? What do you think?
Great question. So when we're setting up showings, this is why you watch all these videos, folks. They're not always in order. And this is why we have live people. When you're setting up a showing, I plan on 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Unless I already know. I mean, I've met people that this guy, This is a funny story. This guy runs, literally runs through houses. I've seen him almost jogging through houses. He just goes so fast. He's excited. He's not picky at all. He's just, I mean, he'd make it through my 3,000 square foot house in 2 minutes. And he'd be like, yep, looks good, great, let's write an offer. Awesome, here we go. So if I know I've got him, then I'm gonna plan things maybe a little differently. Or if I know I've got lookers that they really like to talk and open the cabinets and look through the drawers and count the shelves in the pantry, no problem. I'm gonna plan on 30 minutes for them. But 15 is a good number. It's a long time. 15 minutes is good. And then when you're setting up a tour, it's important to plan your routes. So, you're gonna have to go, okay, we're gonna show our first house at 2. So I'm literally gonna give you what I do. 2 o'clock. 2 to 2:15, I'm at the house. That's my plan. The next house is 5 minutes away. So that's 2:20. But I'm gonna go ahead and schedule it at 2:15 in case my first one ends early. So now I've got a 2 o'clock, 5-minute drive, and I got a next one at 2:15. But I know that I'll be there from, 2:20 really, I might get there. So I've got 2:15 to 2:25 to 2:30 maybe at the next house. The next one's 10 minutes away. So I'm going back, I'm like, well, if I get there at 2:15 and it's short also, then I could really be there by 2:35. That'd be about the earliest though, so let's plan it for 2:30. So now, if both of those go long, I'm really getting there at 2:45. But that's okay, because I've got 30 minutes or an hour, right? So I'm doing an hour time block. This is crazy. If I can, I'm doing a half hour, an hour. I put whatever they'll let me put, up to an hour. But 2 o'clock to 3 was the first one. I'm in there for 10 minutes. The next one's 5 minutes away. So I got a 2:15 to 3:15. The next one is 10 minutes away, and I know I'm going to be there from 2:15 to 2:20 to 2:30, So the third one is going to be 2:30 to 3:30. And then this is a fun one. I'm going to be there for 15 minutes. And the next one's 30 minutes away. So I'm at 2:30 is my start time. I'm there till 2:45. It could be a little earlier. So let's just act like I'm there until 2:40. I need a 30-minute drive. That's 3:10. So let's just schedule it for 3 in case everything runs really early. And if I'm late to 3:30, that's okay. I've got 3 to 4 scheduled. So you got to be like 7 showings and they all go wrong before you're going to mess up that system. So just it'll take some time, but you got to know how far you got to drive. You got to know how long you're going to be there, and then you adjust and round down and up just a hair, because you don't want to be there longer than you're supposed to without getting permission, and you don't want to be there late. You don't want to show up late without being permission, or show up early. Now, if it's an open house, basically, right, there's 4 other agents already in there and you show up 5 minutes early, go in. But that's how I schedule it. Plan on 15 minutes, waxing and waning a little bit.
I think they only do like 3:15, 3:30, I think. They don't do 3:20, I think.
That's right. You don't need it anyway, because if you're going to be there at 3:20, just schedule it for 3:15.
Right.
Yep. And then that gives you the buffer you need anyway. I've done that for years, even with other showing services. It always works really well. It does take time to figure it out and learn it sometimes, especially because you got to calculate driving distances. But Andrea's even done it for me. If I'm in the car, I had to, hey, Andrea, I need you to set up some showings for me. And we kind of talk through that. And then she able to set it up appropriately. So that's good information. Any other questions about stuff like that? Out of order is okay. So we've now locked up and we're headed to another house, or we're headed back to them talking about it. Okay. So we've gotten to our showings. We've gotten an answer on, if they like the house or don't like the house. We know what we're going to do. Now we're going to be talking about what it looks like to make an offer, because we've done all the work previously with them about what it looks like to buy houses, but we didn't get deeply into it because we didn't want to bog their brain down. We didn't talk about the 17 strategies of creating a super strong offer. We just told them you go get pre-approved, then we go look at houses. So now we're actually at the next step, which is making an offer and getting it accepted.
Yeah, it's a big question.
It is a big question. So you got a couple different types of clients. Client number one is going to be, they're going to want to, you're going to talk them through the details. They're going to want to know everything. That's me. I understand it. I'm good with numbers. I'm not trusting. My natural thing is I'm kind of the smartest guy. And I'm not. I'm saying I feel like I'm the smartest guy in the room, so I'm not going to trust anybody else. I need to work through this myself. I need to think through this myself. It's a great trait. It's also a terrible trait. I'm a wheel reinventor. I reinvent wheels because Robin's done it 20 times this way, and yet I want to make sure I like it that way. And I might completely reinvent the wheel and end up right where she's at, or I may have some tweaks, but I want to go through it. You have other people that are that way too. And you're going to talk them through all the details. And it's going to be a long conversation because they're not going to understand it right off the bat. Heck, there's going to be times you're not going to be doing a very good job explaining it, which is why we practice and why you look at everything. But you're going to be going through all the details of the purchase agreement. You're going to be big stuff for sure, right? Like making what appliances do we want? Are there any other personal property that we want or definitely don't want? There's a swing set out back. Do we want the swing set? Do we not? There's going to be clients that say, yes, we want the swing set. We're not buying the house if that swing set doesn't come with it. And there's going to be other people that say, if that swing set's still there at the end, I'm going to be mad because they don't want that swing set. And there's going to be most people like, whatever, it's a swing set. So you're trying to figure that out. So is there anything else you saw in there that you wanted? It can be tough to negotiate furniture and swing sets and sheds and extra refrigerators, but here's what they have already said they're selling, and that's in Matrix. Here's what they said they're selling. Here's what's there. If I start seeing a bunch of really cool stuff that might be interesting, I start taking pictures so I can go back to my phone, and I will literally just send them all the pictures. Boom, 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 send. These are all the things I took pictures of that you seem like you might be interested in, or at least need to be considered. Pool tables, ping pong tables, hot tubs. 20 pictures sometimes. Send. All my clients got all the pictures now, and then they can tell me what are those pictures they want. Speaking of this, personal property is done off the purchase agreement if possible. There's the one section on the purchase agreement that's going to say includes, and we're going to write refrigerator, dishwasher, microwave, micro hood, whatever, oven range, etc. But if you start getting into swing sets, pool tables, sofas, the small child, whatever, those are going to get done separately because the lender is not going to be okay with. They're not loaning money on that. So how we write it and where we write it can be important. But
micro hood is permanent, right? It always included.
No, all your kitchen appliances need to be listed as also included.
Like that microwave always included, right?
They want that to be. It's not always included.
No. Oh, they take off?
It's possible, yeah. Now that's a great point. Here's the thing. If there's a question, you might as well just clear it up on the purchase agreement. To be clear is really, really good because if you and me were working a deal together and I wrote and I didn't write microwave, you wrote an offer on my house and you didn't write microwave, I'm probably selling that. Now you thought it stayed. I thought I could sell it. We've got a problem now to the tune of $300 or $400. And who's right? Only a judge decides. But it is commonly known in our area, all your kitchen appliances are personal property. They are not, the fridge is not attached. The dishwasher might have a screw or two in it, but that's a stabilizing feature, not an attachment. Do I agree with that? Like philosophically, not really actually, because a garbage disposal and a refrigerator are listed in the same location on Matrix, on the BLC. Have you ever tried to take a garbage disposal off? It's totally different than wheeling your refrigerator out, right? So my point is, be clear. If you're not sure, if you have even the slightest question, clear it up on the purchase agreement. Say, refrigerator, the black refrigerator in the garage, whatever it is, take a picture, put all those pictures on a PDF and have your client and their client sign it. All appliances on attached PDF. Put the pictures on there, sign it. Like, think business. Do not think friendly. Think business. Think, if this goes wrong, I'm going to need, when I do like a land, you should see the last land thing. I've got the tax record. I've got a satellite photo of the land with outlines. I've got the map version with the lines from Matrix and all that from the GIS, and these people are seeing it. I've got everything, because if I've got 10 things that say this and one thing that says this, I think generally the 10 are going to outweigh it, right? Let's say I had a picture of the fridge, and then I said, I don't know how to make the example. If there's a discrepancy, I want it to be clear, not necessarily like legal clear. I want it to be human clear. Like, no. You knew, based on these other 3 things, the pictures you saw and signed, I might have written it weird. I might have said refrigerator instead of freezer over here. But I clearly have a picture of the refrigerator, and you signed it. Like we all knew what was happening here, right? That's what I'm going for, is just clarity. And the more things I can do to add clarity, don't be scared. It's really easy 99% of the time. It's refrigerator, microwave, micro hood, dishwasher, oven range. You're done.
So it means when we're showing the home, that time we make a list.
Yep. So when you're making remember, everybody watching the video too, we're talking about communicating with our client that wants to know all the details, and we're trying to make sure we know what we're making the offer on, right? So we're at the very top of the purchase agreement right now, which is what are we buying? The house. It has the long list of all the things, like blinds and fixtures, and it has that list that's already pre-written, and then we get to write in a few extra things. Well, you're going to write in the appliances or whatever, or swing sets, put those on a separate paper. So when you're at the house, one, I pay attention, maybe make a list. If it starts to be a bunch of stuff that's not normal being washer, dryer, kitchen appliances. If it's going to be pool tables and stuff, I'm going to make a list. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to send them to my client like we talked about. And I'm going to look at the pictures of the MLS. Maybe I haven't been to the house. Maybe I didn't make a list, but I'm going to look at the pictures online to remember, or at least part of my double checking maybe that, right? I have my list, but I'm going to just double check on the pictures, see if there's anything else I missed. And then the third way I check is you look in the matrix and how the agent has listed it. And there's going to be a spot where it talks about refrigerator, micro hood, oven range, all those things. And you can see there. And the agent-to-agent remarks and the property descriptions. Those will be spots where they might list trampoline comes with the house. Okay, cool. But that was nowhere else. Maybe the trampoline was nowhere else but the property description that our client read on Zillow. But if I didn't read it, now I forgot to add the trampoline, and they really wanted the trampoline. So those are the areas. I make my own list, take my own pictures at the showing, and then I cross-reference that with Matrix, and I cross-reference that with the pictures on Matrix. So now I've got a full picture of what's going on, what's available, what they intend to sell according to the listing, what I want to buy according to my clients, and what is available in general to pick from. And then so we go through all that with our client and make sure those things. We're going to go through, prices. We're going to go through their loans and the contingencies related to loans, which we're going to get into detail about that later. That is not today. This is overview stuff. We're going to talk about Earnest Money, and then that's going to go into what happens to Earnest Money. I talked to a guy the other day. I had him put as much as he could possibly stomach. He put $60,000 Earnest Money down on a $400,000 house.
What's the legal?
What's that?
What's the legal 1%?
Zero.
Oh,
you do not have to have any. You're good luck finding somebody that'll take 0.
Right.
But you don't have to have any. Yep. You can also, collateral could be a wedding ring. It could be a really cool cup. It could be a car. Keep it simple. But generally speaking, no money is needed. 1% is normal in our current market. You get higher than 1%, you're starting to be strong. Less than 1%, you're weak, but it's all flexible. It's part of your offer like everything else. How strong of a buyer do you want to be?
So it means Earnest Money just a purpose is that the customer how serious he is and
yes,
right.
It communicates how serious your client is, and that if they back out for no good reason, they might lose their money. And we can never promise that you'll get your money back because we're not in control of the other people, right? So contractually and historically and experientially, you should get your money back right here in this situation, let's say. I can't promise it though, because I'm not them and I'm not in charge of them and they may be a little turkey. But in theory, you should get it back. If not, we'll go try to get it back in court. I've never lost because
and
if we deserve it back, we get it back.
It never shows anything, and the blinds. What is the legal say? Blinds always included, or blinds he can move it.
On our purchase agreement, blinds stay.
Blinds stay.
And that's going to be on that purchase agreement. We're going to go through that purchase agreement on a different day, line by line.
Okay.
And we're going to talk through all those details because I want you to know that thing inside and out and understand it. But yeah, blinds are an example of something that would stay. So we've been through all of this stuff and we're talking prices and we're explaining what happens to earnest money in this situation, what happens, because that all plays in. It's risk. Am I going to give $60,000 and then I lose my job? And I wrote out the contingency for my loan too. Now I just lost 60 grand. Maybe, maybe not. So there's a bunch there and we'll go through all that and it'll be a long conversation. It'll be wonderful and you'll be amazingly smart. But you're going to go through all these details. You're going to get to the bottom of the purchase agreement. I'm just going to skip all the way down there. You're going to get to the bottom of the purchase agreement where we got further conditions and we've got 8 or 10 strategies there. And you're going to talk through, okay, step 1, make the biggest offer you could possibly stomach and pay for if it actually appraises, right? How much can you afford if it appraises at the number? Well, we're approved and can afford up to $500,000. Awesome. Let's offer $500,000 on this $200,000 house then, because you can afford it. It's not going to appraise, and then we'll readjust. So step 1, you're going to explain all this to them. Like, here's the strategies. Here's what we do. Here's why we do it. You're going to go through all this stuff. So you better know it really well because you got to be able to not only do it, but you got to explain it to it. If you can't explain it to like a 4th grader, you probably can't explain it well enough. Okay. Not saying they're 4th graders. I'm saying they don't know anything. So they'll get it if you're good at it. So you're going to go through all, what that looks like. You talk about appraisal gaps, what that does, what happens when, what if. They're going to ask you questions. You better know the answers. You're going to talk about limiting inspection breadth. What are we going to inspect? Instead of the whole thing, we're going to only inspect these items, the roof, the attic, the crawl space, the foundation, the plumbing, whatever it is, the pool. That's also got to be careful there because if you forget about the pool, when you're limiting your inspections, now they can't get a pool inspection and they're going to be really mad at you, potentially. You're going to go through all these strategies. We're going to say we're not going to negotiate for anything unless the one item is $1,000 or more to repair. We're going to, I've got more than you'll ever see. What we have in our current thing, we've got more. There's always more creativity that can be done. But you're going to get a chance to explain it all to them. And it's hard and it takes forever. And that's where you make your money. That's why we are prepared. That's why we get paid really well. Because anytime you're strategic and creative and you do that stuff, risk is changing at the same time. As you limit inspections, you're changing risk, which if you haven't done it appropriately with your client, you could have put them in harm's way where they didn't know they were getting in harm's way. So they need to understand the risks and rewards. So that's why you have to be good at it. But that's the client number 1. I know I went through a lot on that, but we're going to go through those details later. But that's client 1. Client 2, and this is a good one to know. And you may have to ask them which person they are. I've had to do this, because they start getting caught up and you can see the wheels spinning in their head as you're starting to talk about appraisal gaps. but you've built so much rapport and trust with them because you've done a great buyer presentation. You've followed up well. You've loved them. You've worked with their lender super well. You've done everything and they trust you to no end. I mean, they're calling you about what to do when their dog is sick. I mean, these type of people happens all the time and it is the best feeling in the world. So the question is, how much cash do you have to work with? And would you like me to just put together the best possible offer I can for you? How much money do you have available? When do you need to move in? How long are you willing to let them stay there? All of these questions you're just going to ask. Get a big idea of their picture. And then you're going to say, great, I'm going to put together the best offer I can come up with within reason. And I'm then going to explain that offer to you. And if you don't like something, we can change it. Because now I've taken choice fatigue. There's 1,000 ways we can write this up. Which one, what do you want to do? That's impossible to answer for most people because they don't even know what you're talking about. And you've given them 100 options. And I'm standing in front of a t-shirt wall with 500 t-shirts. They all look very similar. Which one do you want? I kind of don't want any of them. And I leave. I don't have the emotional, mental capacity to pick a shirt out of that pile right now. That's called choice fatigue. So we're going to eliminate that by saying, I know your picture. I know where you're headed. Let me, kind of like a Disney planner. Okay, cool. I know what you want to do. You want to make sure you hit this, big things. Let me put together a package and then let's talk about that package. See if there's any adjustments need to be made. That's what we do on offers all the time. I say, you got $30,000 to spend. I'm going to calculate your down payment, your closing costs, your appraisal gaps, your cash to seller for saying yes. I'm going to do all this stuff. This is all going on in my head. And I'm going to make sure you're not spending more than 30. You're getting the house within 30 days of closing and whatever. All of a sudden, I write the best offer I can write. If that was my kid or my mom, write the best offer that manages risk and reward and all the cool things. And then I take that offer to them and we talk through that offer. And 90% of the time, because you're good at your job, they're going to be, yep, perfect. Thank you.
And that would have to be a fast turnaround though in this market. So how do you do that? We'll meet in a couple hours after I've gotten this written down.
I have,
what
man.
Do you do?
Yeah, you to determine how fast you need to move. It could be really fast. And in that case, it just gets different. But in most cases, if there's other people in the house, I'm not talking about it in the house. I'm looking for cameras in the house. I'm not talking about it if I see cameras, ring doorbells. I'm going to their car. I've sat in the back seat of cars and broke my neck trying to talk to people for hours. You know what? Let's just head over to the coffee shop. Let's go back to your apartment. Come over to my house. My house is always open. We'll meet on the front door in the blue room, whatever you want. We just do whatever makes sense for them. You just got to feel that out. Everybody's going to be different. Some people, they're going to want to go talk about it, and then we're going to call, we're going to be on speakerphone. Some are going to be texters. It's nice to put it in writing sometimes because it's easier, especially with me. I get super excited and I can go really, 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 really fast. And all of a sudden they're lost because it's all here and they're not auditory. Me, I'm auditory. So I don't want to see it. I want to hear it. I want you to communicate it to me well audibly. I'll read. That's my second for sure. Be able to read it, which is very auditory because you kind of read to yourself in your brain. But it's going to be up to them, up to you. You just got to figure out how to do it, how to get through the speed, where we're going to talk, all that. But along the way, if you know they're going to write an offer, while you're waiting on that conversation or decision to be made, we're going into zip forms and we're setting up the file. So what you want to make sure you do have is, hey, real quick, shoot me a quick text. I tell people to text me all the time. Shoot me a quick text. I want your legal name, the way it is, the way you gave it to your lender. I don't really care what your legal name is. I want to know what your lender is going to use. Okay? What your lender is going to use. Because, for instance, my legal name, William Elijah Skinner. What my lender has, 100% of the time, Eli Skinner. I don't care what's on my driver's license. It says it's going to be Eli Skinner on the lender. And the lender is who has the money. It's called the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules. The lender has the gold, so they make the rules. They're going to want the name generally to match. It'll probably match their ID. Probably.
License.
Probably will match their license. But there's times when it might not. And whatever the lender's got is fine. We can always change it if we have to. But you want to shoot me your name the way you like to sign it. Shoot me the name the way your lender has it. Something like that. And I want your phone number. I want to make sure I have your phone number, and I need your email address. We only have one email address for both of us. Great, no problem. Just send it to me. But give me both your phone numbers, because we're going to put them into zip forms appropriately, using the videos we've already done. You get the parties set up really well, really clean. And then you're going to start importing the listing. It's going to suck in the listing agent. It's going to suck in the details about the house. Again, those videos are very clear on how to do that. But you're going to be getting that file set up, cleaned up, freshened up. If you know you're going to waive inspections, then you can archive the buyer inspection response that's already in there. You can get rid of stuff that you may not need with the archive button. But you're just cleaning up because you're waiting anyway. And then all you got to do then is go back to the template, which has a lot already in it now because of what we've already done ahead of time and because you just imported stuff. And you're going to take it from there. And you're going to then, once you've arrived at some conclusions, you're going to take really good notes. I generally try to text it back to them. Here's what I heard. Yes, that's what we want. Great. And then I've got my list on my text feed that I can then put into the offer. Because the one time you send your client and you've been talking about what to do on this one line, how much earnest money was going to be. Are we going to do 2,000 or 4,000? 2,000 or 4,000? I don't know. Maybe just do 3,000 in the middle. You know what? 3,500's it. You go back to write. Your brain's crazy. You're going fast. You got 3 other clients calling you. You're trying to get a hold of me for something. You type in 2,000. The last thing they said was 3,500. The first time you send a contract to your client with even one mistake on it is going to feel like, oh no. Because if you're like me, one mistake is like roaches. If you see one, there's probably more. So the answer is make no mistakes. Be very careful, be very slow, and do it right. Because I sent one, I still do it. I made a mistake with a client the other day. It's been a month probably at least now. Can't remember who it is, but I remember, I do remember who it is. It's a deal we're about to close. I wrote $1,500 a month rent back. Our last conversation was $1,600 a month rent back. $1,500 had been a number, but so my brain was locked in on this $1,500 for a week. And then they decided 16. Well, I wrote 15, sent them the offer to sign. She catches the problem. I thought we said, she's not being mean. It feels mean sometimes because I'm embarrassed. I thought we said 1,600. Take a second. How do I respond without looking like a complete idiot, but still apologetic, not making excuses, but trying to say, yes, I've got the rest of it's gold. And knowing full well that she has every right to not trust a thing that's on that paper now, in my opinion. And whatever I said, I could look back at the text. I said, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My brain was stuck on 15 from our previous conversations. I'll get that switched up right now and resent back over to you. Anything else you see on there, ? Always leave room for the fact that you are human and you will make mistakes, but always super confident that you got it right. And no problems. Everything else was just fine. They're great. They love me. They trust me. No problems. But I feel terrible because of that one little mistake. And you should feel terrible too. Like when you get the lawyers, I work with lawyers regularly. When I catch a lawyer mistake that I'm paying $300 an hour for and they couldn't even send it to an assistant to proofread, I'm not real happy with it. And you better not charge me to make that correction. And why did I find 5 where you had it still 2021 on your template? That's not, I don't let other people off the hook either, but I don't let myself off the hook on that. I know I'm being really serious right now. I'm really serious right now. It is a big deal to me, and it should be to you too. Because they hired us because they could make all those mistakes for free if they did it themselves. They're paying us or we're getting paid. We need to make sure we don't make those mistakes. So go slow. I write the contract. I look at it again while I'm in edit mode. Then everything's good. Then I go to put the signatures on, and I put the signatures on and I'm scanning it while I'm doing that. Signatures are in place. I look at it again. By the time I sent this to my client, I've looked at it 4 times, probably, maybe more. So, and I've done thousands, and I still look at it that much before I send it. Because beautiful thing about templates and experience is you get to go fast and it's all efficient. The bad thing about templates is you trust them too much. And that lawyer sends his template that still has 2021 as the date because he never changed it. And he's done that 100 times and he keeps going to himself, I need to get in there and change that template. And he hasn't done it. So those are the things that, like, you see a problem with our template, you tell me right away, like, stop everything you're doing, pause for 5 seconds, tell your phone to text me, or email me is the best, or Andrea, we need to fix the template. I think it's wrong. It says this. I think it should probably say something else. Whatever. Give me advice. Don't give me advice. Doesn't matter. Just point me in the right direction because we need to get that fixed right away.
Good question. On those templates that are pre-filled,
Yeah.
the part that is not pre-filled that we need to touch on, those are highlighted, right?
They try to be, but when they change them on me, then they move.
Okay, because I was looking at one with Hannah.
Yep, so that's a great example. If you're looking, the highlights don't line up, be like, no problem. I will just text me, because I'm doing the same thing I just said that lawyer's doing. I'm like, gosh, I'd love to change those highlights, but I'm in the middle of crazy.
Yeah.
But if I've got an email from you, and me and Andrea have an email from you, even better, office, and then we'll tag team it, we'll get it done.
Okay.
But that she's talking about the highlights. But yeah, I
No,
try to
I just
highlight the
wanted to
numbers.
confirm I
Yeah, try to highlight the numbers so that you could quickly scroll through the lines of the purchase agreement and know, okay, anywhere I see a highlight, I need at least think. So there's some spots where I don't need you to think. Very few, but there's some. But the highlights are, you need to pay attention here. I may even have it filled in, but I still want you to confirm that that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. But just look over your purchase agreement over and over and over and over and over before you send it. If you're new, and new is relative, if you've not written 50 purchase agreements, you probably should send them to me first. And then eventually I'll say, Hardev, bro, I have not found a problem on your purchase agreements for like 10. You're good. Don't send them to me. Just do your thing. If you have questions, always call, but you're fine on your own. If I haven't given you that clear of you're fine, then you need to be sending them to me every single time. There will be a time where it is going to become very apparent to both of us that you're fine.
And we send as an e-sign?
Send it to me as a PDF in my email.
Oh.
So you just do the send feature, not an e-signature to me, just a PDF that I can just...
To the client.
To the client would be an e-signature. Yep, we'll get there in just a second.
Yeah.
So I've checked it. I've said you're good, or I've sent you back lines that you're going to fix. Then you do the fixes, and then sometimes you may send it to me again. Hey, I think I got them all. It doesn't take me very long to look through it. It takes me longer to write the corrections than to look. So I'll do my best to get it done really quickly, but don't leave me alone. You got to send it to me and then text me, call me, because I know you're busy. And I want you to move quickly. And I'm busy too, or my phone's dead not dead, that wouldn't work at all. But you're not going to annoy me. I will continue to ignore your call if I cannot take it. But like my family, if my wife calls me 2 or 3 times back to back, I'm probably going to pick up, right? That's just the way it works. If Brad calls me 3 times back to back to back, one, I really do hope it's an emergency. And those are relevant too. And not like he got in a car wreck emergency, but like, I literally need to send this right now because we got 10 minutes, Eli. That's fine. That's an emergency. That's the 911 call in our industry. That's fine. But keep hitting me up because I do want to help you. It's not I'm ignoring you for no good reason. It could be I'm ignoring you for no good reason. But if you call 3 times, it's going to change my perspective. So you're going to dig through that. You're going to make sure you're thinking about lead-based paint. Do I need one or not? Seller's disclosure. Have I downloaded that from Matrix and sent it in? There's all kinds of stuff. We'll go through that when we talk about specifically writing offers. There's already videos on that anyway. But let's say we've nailed our offer. We're good to go. Now, I'm going to get you through this e-signature part, and then we're going to be done for today. So, you're going to go to working on sending e-signatures for your client. So there's videos on how to do that specifically. We'll probably talk more about it at a later time. But after you've got it written and you've put it into the e-signature side of the software in Zip Forms, then you're gonna put the signatures in the right places, double check. Some of them will automatically go in, some of them won't. You just wanna double check everything. Might as well, we're already here. It's a whole lot easier to spend 5 seconds now than 5 minutes later to redo the whole packet. And then you're gonna send it to your client and you're gonna use the words, "I've just sent you documents to review and sign." Why do I say those words specifically? Review and sign. Because I don't want them to feel like I'm saying, "Hey, sign this real quick." Like flippantly. This is a big deal. I want you to read these, and once you like what they say, I want you to sign it. Because once you sign, I don't always tell them this part, and it's not exactly true, but I want them to feel the weight of this. Once you sign, the other side gets them. You hit that sign button, it's not like it goes in some, heavenly waiting zone. Right to the other side.
The other agent.
The other agent, which means it's gone. You just accepted their offer. Done. Their counter offer. It's done and gone. Big deal. So do not click sign unless you want to sign. Now, I don't actually have it doing that. It doesn't actually do that. But there are scenarios where I have Andrea's on top of it and she's going, "Hey, you want me to send those to the agent?" She could have just as easily gone, "Oh, cool. Accepted offer came through. Send," because she's so good at her job. She doesn't check back in. My conversation with them was, "You go ahead and sign it. We'll wait 15 minutes and make sure of this, and then we'll send it." Well, I forgot, because I got a phone call, forgot to tell Andrea not to send it when it comes through. It's off, and I'm going, "Oh, no." So I want my clients to be very clear that when we click send, it's done. When we click sign, it's done. It won't be done, but that's what I want them to feel. I want them to feel the weight of that. If we have a specific conversation, like I just mentioned, you can do that, but you just have to be careful, okay?
So from buyer, it come to us, and the agent sign, then it go to the seller?
The order is, I send to my clients,
Yeah.
They read it, they sign it,
Yeah.
it comes back to our Zip Forms and sits.
Right.
Then we click it, hit send to the other agent, and then we're done for now. That's how we do it. There are some ways, and you'll see it on the videos, or we'll go through it, where you can make it so that as soon as they hit sign, it actually does go to the other agent. I do that sometimes, and that's fine. It eliminates a problem where I was supposed to get it in 5 minutes and I got a phone call, they signed, I didn't hear the phone ring, and now I missed my deadline. It just clicked. It can be set up that way as well. It's just all about everybody paying attention. This is not light. This is heavy. This is expensive. This is a big deal, and everything needs to be communicated. It's words I use all the time. This is a big deal to you, so it is a big deal to me. I want them to understand I'm in it with them, right? So
what folder does it come back in?
Zip Forms, it'll always come back in a brand new folder. You can assign where it goes, or if you just let it run, it's going to come back into the main folder under a signature packet folder that it creates for that specific file. You'll see it happen, and the videos I've got will show you how that all works. But they've signed, it's come back, it's sitting in Zip Forms. You go into the folder that it came back in, and generally I don't send the electronic signature verification. You click on that, look at it. It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo and dates and stuff. I don't normally send that. Nobody does. We send the documents that we just did. Some of them, all of them, whatever makes sense. You don't always send them all. Sometimes they sign something that the seller has already signed, like the seller's disclosure. Seller's disclosure, it came to us signed. We signed it. All we're doing is storing it, and we are sending it back though because they need it with our signatures. But maybe it's something we're keeping. They signed and we're keeping, like a buyer's agency agreement. We don't send that. They signed it, came back in the same packet, because we did purchase agreement, seller's disclosure, office policy, all these documents in one. We're going to keep the office policy. We're going to keep the buyer's agency policy. We're going to send the seller's disclosure, the purchase agreement, the lead-based paint. So you send it to the right places. And then right at that moment, once you've sent them off, I'm going to clean up my file again. And we're going to archive stuff that we don't need anymore, meaning documents that aren't fully signed. We're waiting on them to come back from the other agent. So if they're not fully signed, I'm going to archive them. If they're fully signed and we're keeping them like the office policy, that's going to be taken to final documents, fully executed documents, whatever. There's a folder and the videos show you that. We're going to clean it up again to where now our home screen is all clean and crispy. Because then eventually you're going to have the deal. Everybody's accepted. It's all wonderful. And you're going to tell Andrea, hey, it's ready for you. And when you turn it over to Andrea, it better be ready for her. The last thing she needs is 100 documents scattered everywhere in there. The parties tab doesn't have phone numbers. Nothing's labeled right. It's all labeled like SKM 472968834 because it was scanned in, and you know what I mean? The scanned document names. Mm-hmm. And so she's having to click in every one of them and see, what is it? Is it signed? Is it signed by both parties? So she's clueless, and she spends an hour doing what you could have done in 2 minutes. So that's the order. And then you text the agent. Call the agent. I just sent you an offer. Can you please confirm that you have it? Because if you remember, people online, what constitutes like a fully executed document, a contract?
Received.
Yes, you have to receive it. It has to be executed by all parties and the correct parties at that, which is always, it's a different conversation, right? If I sign instead of my wife, if you think I'm selling the house because I'm the talker, but really my wife owns it and I signed that listing contract, you do not have a contract because my wife owns the house, let's just say. So right people, signing in time, and then delivery of that document. And it is generally understood that delivery is not about me sending as much as it is about them receiving it, right? So I can show you that I sent it, but they never said, got it. So I have to assume they do not have it, which means if I have a deadline, if I have 5 minutes to get this thing to you, because it's 11:55 p.m. and I have until 11:59 p.m. to get it to you or else something happens. I'm not letting that agent off. I'm texting, I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm calling. Do you have it? 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 Because if they never respond, I've got a whole string of text messages where I'm saying, do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? And I've got proof that I sent it, right? So I've got proof that I sent it. I've got proof that I tried to confirm delivery and that they didn't respond. No big deal normally, but it's possible. Buyer's agent. I had a lady on a listing of ours. She said she sent it 3 days prior. We never confirmed it. We never got it. And she never had proof of it being sent. Her zip forms didn't launch it. Speaking of that, zip forms is going to pop up little things when you send something like to an agent. It's going to say document submission failed. Document was sent successfully. Please contact the other party and let them know it was sent. They look stupidly, zip forms, if you're listening. They look the same. They're a yellow box with typing. The failure one is not like bright red like it should be. Or the good one isn't green like it should be. It looks the same. So you think you sent it, but you didn't pay attention, and it said document submission failed. And so now you're late. First time that happens, you're going to freak out because I sent it like 3 days ago. That's what she said happened. I said, tough cookies, you'll take the house as it is. They missed their deadline by 12 hours because we don't contact them until they've missed their deadlines. So pay attention to that. Get confirmation of delivery. And if you want to take another measure, always add yourself as a carbon copy on that email out. from zip forms. So now you know it went through because you were carbon copied on it and you got the email. You're like, I got mine. I don't know what's wrong with your email program or with the email address you gave me or right? Because when you import that listing agent, it's directly from Matrix and they have an email that they have listed in Matrix as their contact email. If that sucks in an old email address, that's not my problem. I mean, it kind of is my problem. I'll work through it. But I got proof. I got it. And, so you're trying to create these scenarios where there is no question marks. Like, you screwed up, not me. That's what we're trying to do all the time. Every time, assume it goes to court. How are we going to cover our backs? What are we going to show that we did our due diligence, that we protected our client at all costs? Conversations, text messages, emails, delivery of documents, executions. We talked earlier about being clear on contracts. Assume it all is going to court. And how are we going to be protected? How is our client going to be protected? It's important. Every text message I send is, if a judge sees this, what is he going to think? And if there's any self-serving in there, you better pull that out real quick. You got to be real careful if you're trying to negotiate a number. An example would be, I've got somebody, like, I'm buying that house. They may constitute me as a real estate agent that's helping them. However, I'm buying their house. So it is not me helping them. It is me exactly against them. My text messages to them are very clear. I'm not we're not mean and we're already friends and we try, but I'm protecting one person here, and that is me. Now, maybe I have a phone call that's a little different than that, but the text message and the emails are, I just want to make sure you fully understand that you would probably get more for your house if we sold it on the open market. I'm here to help you solve a problem. Primarily, and our goals are directly opposed. My goal is to get the house at the best deal I can possibly get, protecting myself. Your goal is to get as much as you possibly can, but getting what else you need, the problem solved. I'm trying to be the solution for you. But you need to make sure you are comfortable or you're consulting other professionals. Like, that is the clarity, because the moment I go steal some house off of somebody and I haven't had that conversation, and I say steal, like, not taking advantage of, like, again, all clear, but I want there to be writing that you understand I'm taking this house at a discount, that sort of thing. Then they can't go to the judge and say, I thought he was looking out for our best interests. I go, I clearly was not. And look, it's just good being a good person first, but secondly, you got to be prepared to go to court. This isn't all, start off by saying real estate's not a get rich quick scheme. It's also not this cutesy thing that you see on TV and, oh, my mom's a realtor. I bet she is. But when she sells you a house, a pile of land in a flood zone that you're not allowed to build on because DNR won't let you, and you just spent $300,000 and it's worth $40 because it's actually just four-wheeler ground, not buildable land, what are you going to have that conversation with your mom about? It's not just fun and games. And most agents out there, and you're going to run into them all day, they're dabbling in real estate. They're not having this conversation right now with anybody that's been through it. I've had the wrong land deeded to my client, and I paid $6,000 to make her whole after selling it again. And I'm not even sure that really made her whole, because she didn't get the land she was supposed to get. I've been there, and it's not fun. And fortunately, she's awesome, and we're still great friends, and we're still client. I mean, it was a weird thing. I still don't know that it was actually my fault, but it's my responsibility in my mind, as I was the one hired to help her. And I'm like, well, I'm going to fix it, right? So just don't take anything lightly. Don't be scared. It's riding a motorcycle. My best analogy, I probably told you. Riding a motorcycle. When you get a motorcycle, you ever ridden a motorcycle? Have you?
Yeah.
Have you? Okay.
I read on the back one.
On the back one, okay. Well, and so when you're driving a motorcycle, best advice I ever got from a guy when I bought mine from him.
Four-wheeler.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Cars, it's all the same, but motorcycles is just so dramatic. When you get a motorcycle, the first thing you need to do is get super comfortable. You got to learn everything you can learn. Practice. Take it slow in parking lots. Practice parking on a hill and then going while you're on an incline or a decline, or you've got to turn. I mean, there's so many weird things, right? Get so comfortable you can do it in your sleep. Then, very, very soon after you get comfortable, you need to get very, very scared again. Because if you're not scared, then you're stupid. And most people you're going to run into in this industry are stupid. They either never got comfortable, and so they're scared, which is then stupid to do a ton of business if you're uncomfortable and scared. Or they got comfortable because they did a couple deals and they went really smooth, and now they're so comfortable, it's just, no big deal. We just kind of fill in some blanks and then go cash a check. And they're dangerous. And you'll be dangerous too. So get very, very comfortable and then get very, very scared again. You can tell, I am very conscious of the weight of carrying $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $1 million of somebody else's money and caring for it, stewarding that well. Big deal. And it's not always just about the money either. It's about their life and where they're going to move now that you screwed up their dates on their house and they sold a house and that one fell through and you never talked about the possibility of that happening. And now they're homeless, nowhere to go, and good luck finding a rental. It gets really expensive to be an agent when you do that. So, all right, I'm going to hang this up and we'll be back next week.